Hey, what up, guys? Doing another What's Next. This is on former world title challenger Matt Korobov. So he's currently my number 10 fighter in the 160-pound middleweight division. He's coming off of a tough second-round TKO loss to Chris Eubank Jr. when he tore his rotator cuff in that second round, and he had to retire with an injury. So Eubank won by TKO. There's been no talks of what he's going to do when he comes back. I guess he avoided having the surgery in terms of just rehabbing his shoulder. They said he was at least, that was back in January, I read that he was leaning towards that, and that he was going to be out at least 4 or 5 months, and they didn't know how he was going to be when he came back. So, tough injury. We'll see how he comes back at the end of the, this year, because he's probably only going to fight once. 37 years old, so older fighter. I got to see what he does. Let's run him through the top 10 and see what options could be there for him. Start with number 1, the WBA Super Champion, pound-for-pound king, Saul Canelo Alvarez. He's not considering Korobov right now. Korobov just not a big name and doesn't deserve it. Number 2, Triple G Gennady Golovkin. Triple G's got other options. He's got Canelo waiting for him. He's got a mandatory to do next. This ain't happening. Number 3, a rematch with undefeated WBC champion Jermall Charlo. If he would have beat Eubank convincingly, he could have been in line for a rematch with Charlo. Personally, I think Charlo's going to make a mandatory defense next against Sergey Derevyanchenko, so I don't think this fight's an option for him. But, he could do it, but I think Charlo is so starving for a big fight that I don't think he faces a guy like Korobov next, and especially a rematch. Number 4 is Sergey Derevyanchenko. Now, if the only way I see this fight happening is if Charlo decided to... WBC champ Charlo decided to face Chris Eubank Jr. instead of Derevyanchenko, then I think Derevyanchenko could face Korobov since they're both PBC guys. But I personally think Derevyanchenko is going to get the shot against Charlo. But that's just me, so we'll see. Next at number 5 is undefeated WBO middleweight champion Demetrius Andrade. Now, I do think this fight's possible. Korobov's not ranked in any governing body right now. I think that has to do with the injury because... I don't know if people know this or not, but you have to pay monthly dues to any governing body that you are being ranked in. And with him being injured right now, why even bother with that? So, but I do believe, what's his name's gonna, Andrade is gonna make a mandatory defense next, probably against Liam Williams. And after that, I mean, he's willing to face anybody, just none of the big guys want to fight Andrade because he's just an ugly fight. He's a tall, lengthy, awkward fighter. But I think Korobov would fight him. Why not? Korobov is a very skilled fighter. In order to get a world title shot, it would be Eddie Hearn working with the PBC. Why not? Why not make this deal? I think Andrade at this point will fight anybody. Korobov trying to get back in the picture, I think it makes sense. So I think the fight could happen towards the end of the year, but I think Korobov's probably... It's not going to happen next because Korobov's probably going to want a tune-up bout, but I still think if the option's there... Why not? But we got to see. Next at number 6 will be a rematch with WBA interim champion Chris Eubank Jr. I think Chris Eubank might consider this fight just because he didn't really do anything the first time. He didn't really deserve the win over Korobov. He just got lucky enough because Korobov got hurt. I think he wants to prove himself. I think if Charlo decides to face Derevyanchenko next, I think Eubank's options are move to 168 and see what's there, or stay here and face Korobov again. Why not face him again and roll the dice? So I do think that fight's possible. Number 7 is WBA regular champ Ryota Murata. Murata's probably going to be going with a rubber match with Rob Brandt, but we haven't heard nothing for sure, but that's probably what he's doing next. This would be PBC working with Top Rank. Not completely out of the picture, but Ryota Murata against Korobov just wouldn't make a lot of sense for Bob Arum trying to make a big fight for Murata, who's one of his, stars that he likes. Number 8 is Rob Brandt, the former WBA champion. Brandt probably going to get the rubber match with Ryota Murata, so I don't see this fight happening. Again, it's Top Rank working with PBC if they even considered it, and it's a fight that just doesn't make a lot of sense. And then finally at number 9 is the undefeated former junior middleweight champion Jaime Munguia. I wouldn't completely rule it out, but Munguia, it's a risk because Korobov is a highly skilled fighter and he's a veteran. Why take that chance against a guy like Korobov when there's other options and more winnable fights to make for Munguia? So I really don't see this one. So that's it, running through the top 10 for Korobov. What do I think he could do next? Possible. He's either going to get a tune-up bout or they're going to throw him right back in the mix. Again, I think Chris Eubank would be the more logical option in the top 10 right now, most possible. A rematch with him, or even Derevyanchenko if Derevyanchenko doesn't get selected by Charlo. But personally, I think he's just going to have to stay busy and take a tune-up bout, or see if there's any options at 168. You know, Korobov, just last year when David Benavidez was going through his promotional issues with PBC and actually signed with Top Rank, but they had to get a lawyer involved and all that to stop it. He was penciled in to challenge David Benavidez for the WBC super middleweight title. Korobov has considered moving full-time to 168, but he just has had better options at 160 that's kept him there. But he can compete there. I think moving up wouldn't be a bad idea for him. And, you know, for a veteran like him, there are options up there. The PBC has a few guys at 168 that wouldn't be bad ideas. And why not go after one of them and just roll the dice and see what he can do. But Korobov's going to want to do that. He's going to want to have to move up. So we'll see what happens. But that's what's next on former world title challenger Matt Korobov. Hope you enjoyed it. True Boxing, you've been hit with the truth.